Vintage port is considered the pinnacle of port wine. It's a highly sought after product and perfect for commemorating all sorts of occasions. For example, this Quevedo wine here is a 2018 vintage. That means all of the grapes were harvested from the year 2018. The problem is that these bottles wouldn't have been available to the market until late 2019, early 2020. And that's because the process it takes to get them ready and bottled takes that amount of time. It's not an instant process, and for that reason it can be very frustrating if you want to commemorate something in the year that the grapes were harvested. So if you've got a christening in 2021, the year that I'm currently filming this in, you want something to commemorate that occasion on time, and that is where vintage port bonds come in. So what I have here is a vintage port bond from Quevedo. You get this lovely envelope that says Vintage Port Bond 2021, and in it is a certificate, and you can customize this as much as you want. You can say who the gift is for, who it's from, what it's commemorating, or you can forego that entirely and just buy this for your personal use. But it basically is a promise of a future vintage. So 2021, the grapes at this current moment are on the vines in the Douro Valley in Portugal. They'll be harvested later this year and bottled a couple years down the line. And once those ports are bottled and ready for the market, they'll get sent straight to your door. So this port bond is effectively a pre-order for those vintage ports. Quevedo especially is a wonderful company to be doing this because they've consistently produced a quality vintage port year on year for some time now. Not every house declares every year a vintage port, but Quevedo are fairly consistent over recent years. And if in the rare occasion there isn't a vintage port, you'll be offered either a similar quality alternative vintage port or your money back. So it is a guarantee, this port bond. You'll either get a vintage port from the year you ordered it for, your money back, or an equivalent port case. And you do get a whole case, so you're ordering quite a lot in bulk, especially if it's a bad harvest. There's not a lot of grapes available and they don't produce a lot of wine. You get first dibs because you've invested in this port bond. So you could end up with quite a rare bottle of wine. It's quite an exciting thing to do, and it's perfect for commemorating events in the year, christenings, weddings, or even just your own personal investment. You get updates on the wine, how it's going, what the process is, and we'll contact you just before delivery to make sure it's going to the right place. It's a wonderful idea. You can go to vintagewineandport.co.uk. I'll put a link in the description below. You can find out all about our Quevedo port bonds. You can also buy Graham's port bonds through our site. So there's lots of different options and lots of different things to explore. Please do go check it out. And as a treat, at the end of the video, I actually managed to speak to Oscar Quevedo, who is the manager at Quevedo Wines. He and his sister Claudia Quevedo, who is the chief winemaker, are very innovative and pioneering people in the Douro, and he's a wonderful person to speak to. And here he is talking more about port bonds.
For the vintage port process, we're gonna have this port bottled in about a year and a half to 2 years. We can declare the vintage port in the start of March 2023, and then the following months we put it in bottle. This is a beautiful way of acquiring something exclusive of very high quality, and that represents the best that we producers were able to produce in a certain year. So it's when you challenge us to start releasing like the port months, we were really excited about this possibility of upfront giving to your customers, and the possibility of acquiring something that it was not even produced, but to which we would put our best effort and passion into making. And that's what I hope that people really get. There's of course the final result, which is translated into a case of vintage port, but there's a lot of emotional part, which is the commitment, the upfront commitment by you guys to support all this process, and in the end you get something that others are not getting.